And I'll get it started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to, you know what it is. You know what time it is. It's Scotty Survivor o'clock. We're talking about episode 7, the merge of It's Back, Scotty Survivor, episode 7, season 1. Joining me, as always, I have Lee. Lee, how are you doing?
Very excited that we're back from this 3-week hiatus, only to see somebody great leave.
As always. I can't believe you did that to me, where we waited 3 weeks to watch somebody we like a lot go home, and just it hurt, and it was very painful, and it's fine. But here he is, the man who tortures us all, Shane. Shane, how are you?
Blame the cast. That's all I gotta say. It's not my fault that Zoe went out.
Blame Ogun.
Yeah, blame Ogun. Well, we're gonna blame Ogun for everything in this episode.
Hashtag blame Ogun.
So let's start it off right off the bat. Zoe, first of all, congratulations to Zoe for graduating, which is why I assume she's too busy to be here. Much respect to getting out of college. This episode was crazy, and I think that the merge itself, what were we going in? How many people were we going in with again? Where are my notes?
11 altogether, 6 original Ogun, 5 original Balder.
Right. So we're going in a very, very tricky spot. Lee, did you expect it to be a Balder? What did you think was going to go down this week?
Yeah, pretty much, because common that we see with merge is people just want to get the first one over and done with, and what's the easiest way to do it than to stick with tribal lines.
Mm-hmm. And Shane, when you saw this breakdown going into this sort of vote, and I guess just, this tribe makeup in general, was that what you were expecting as well?
Absolutely. There was I knew that Zoe was toast when we merged. She just was, when you have a target, even from the beginning of the game, anything makes you stand out at the merge. So it's going to be the person who they think is least likely, people would least likely to put votes on in their mind, because there are bigger threats, and she fell casualty to that, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I also think that Zoe suffered from all of her allies being a little bit less consistent than what you kind of need in a college survivor alliance mate. I think what we see, and part of why people like Olivia and Anthony and Leo are so successful, is because they're always very, very consistent in how they play and who they talk to, because they all kind of have the same goal for a period of time, right? Which is just, this big alliance, we're going to get kind of far, and then I'll blindside one of my trusted allies later. I think Zoe's allies were all over the place, and they were all very messy, and they all had big targets on themselves. And that's kind of a terrible spot to be in. You have Eric, who is Eric. You have Sarah, who really just doinked up that last vote. And then you have people who are almost, in a way, less offensive, like Corey and May, who don't rock the boat as much. And I think Zoe was in the middle of that. She rocks the boat a little bit. She is a really sort of bonding presence on the tribe. And let's get rid of her now. She gave Eric an idol. Why not? Lee, what do you think Zoe could have done differently to save herself?
I don't know. When you look at the 5 Balder people, Zoe has the least connections with any Ogun player. Because the only Ogun player she's been could interact with is Hallie, because they're on the same tribe. However, and she didn't talk with anyone else, whether Corey and Olivia have some relationship, and May is connected to Sarah, who's connected with Olivia. So Zoe, unfortunately, just kind of got screwed with not knowing enough of the majority alliance.
And Lee, do you think that she picked the right person to vote for in Audrey? Do you think this was the correct target to target? And Shane, I see you shaking your head. We'll get to you.
Audrey is not somebody I see people flipping on. If you're going to flip on someone, you're going to flip on a big target, like a Leo, or even an Anthony if he wasn't immune.
Mhm.
But if you're voting for like an Audrey or a Dorothy, it's like, well, if I flip, I'm not like getting rid of this big target or this person who everyone sees as a big target. So if they targeted somebody else, although I don't even know who they could have targeted. Dorothy, maybe. I think maybe somebody like Leo or Olivia would consider flipping on her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Shane, if you're ready, talk to me about why you think Audrey is the bad choice to target. Because I was in two minds. I thought, yes, she's kind of at the bottom. You take out the connection with Eric. Why not get rid of her? But at the same time, I think that everybody likes her and thinks they can beat her. And so she's not the person you're going to get one more person to flip over and vote for.
Here's the thing. It was a good move for some people, i.e. Sarah, because Sarah not writing down Leo or Olivia's name was really good for her. For people like Corey, May, maybe not so good, because we've heard May being like, oh, maybe me, Dorothy, Hallie, and if that's true, Audrey's gonna for sure be lumped in with that because of Hallie, and so writing down Audrey's name for somebody like May, maybe not the smartest, but I think it's individually good and bad for each of them. Like Corey, not terrible because he has no connection with Audrey, right? So like, not bad, but like some of them, maybe not the right decision. It all really depends on how much Audrey cares that her name is being written down.
Right. I also think you bring up a great point, which is that like Sarah and what we see, right, is Sarah is desperate to prove to Leo and Olivia that like I fucked up. I'm sorry. Mom, please don't take my phone away. I won't do it again. And she's really trying to essentially not get the ire of Leo again. And so you're correct in that like Sarah really got out of having to show her cards here. And I think that, if anything, I don't think Sarah will be respected by what I assume will be the Balders who eventually make it to the jury. And I think if you're Olivia, if you can sort of cut Sarah off at the knees, there's a way where you can bring Sarah to the end and have Sarah be kind of despised by everybody. But if you're Sarah, I think you can turn it around having those two idols. It's just a matter of how she does it. And I'd be very curious to see if she can pull it off. But Lee, what do you think of Olivia choosing to protect Sarah in this moment and in this round?
She's keeping her people. She's keeping people that she knows want to work with her. Like Sarah, I don't want to say the word desperate, but kind of desperate to work with Olivia.
Sarah is, I think, as desperate as every single viewer is to be friends with Olivia, right? Like,
I mean, the thing is, like, I think it's pretty obvious that Sarah is like very much on the bottom of Balder. So like, it's like you have to have avenues. And the thing that was so interesting about watching this was like Olivia was so pissed at Sarah when she voted out Leo, like so pissed, but got over it because she realized that like you have to have people on the other side that you can work with, and who else is she going to talk to?
Yeah, it's a great point that like I think we see this a lot in College Survivor is people look at the outsiders, the sort of loners or like the people who isolate themselves and say, well, let's just vote them out. And then realistically down the line, I think they could have used them. I think a great example of this is it happens a lot in Maryland Major Conflict where the outsiders get picked off rather than being utilized by an alliance, and then all of a sudden, wow, you don't have any numbers because you voted out all of the outsiders. It is a really great move on Olivia's part to keep Sarah in the game. Shane, I'm curious about the Leo-Olivia relationship. The Leo-Sarah relationship. Does Leo, like, I know he kind of understands, but he also doesn't really want to work with her. Like, can you articulate this a little better? What is going on between the two of them?
They have a pre-established relationship before the game, so there's already some sort of like level of knowing each other. So Now, let's just say that doesn't mean that they trusted each other before the game, but they knew each other before the game.
Right.
So I think that relationship is more mendable than people that he's never met. Because he knows that, like, if Eric is writing his name down, then that means Corey and May and Zoe are all against him as well. So, like, if Sarah's coming to him being like, ooh, like, I'm ready to mend things, like, I feel like Leo's the type of person who will do anything to have his name not be written down.
Right.
Yeah.
Lee, do you think this was good on Leo's part?
I mean, yeah, it's always good to have relationships with people, even with... It's that thing where it's probably like, I'll forgive you, but I won't forget you still wrote down my name. But I'll work with you as I see fit.
I think that this is a mistake for Leo.
Okay.
Because Zoe was pretty amenable to work with him. Like, if anything, he should have pushed for May.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway for me of this episode, is that somebody like May with a wild card like Hallie, who I would say is probably at the bottom of the former Ogun tribe. Like, he's just at the bottom, right? He doesn't have the bond that Olivia, Leo, and Anthony have. He's not the other person that is Audrey to sort of be there and benefit from the relationship. And I would say even Dorothy is kind of higher on the totem pole than Hallie in some ways, because Dorothy's proved herself to Leo. So I think that destroying the connections that Hallie has will protect you, if you're in the old Ogun, from what is eventually going to be, I think, Hallie potentially flipping to that side of people. And it's completely correct that, like, it would have been more beneficial to lose May for a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's funny because I couldn't find this when I was editing, but there was a call, like, between the old Ogans, like 15 minutes before, where they went back and forth about, should we do Zoe, should we do May? And Hallie was a driving force in making sure that it was Zoe, because he didn't want to lose May, which was smart of him. And I think Leo and Olivia didn't want to step on his toes because they were worried if they voted out May that he might flip. But also, if they're them, if they leave in May, aren't they increasing the odds that he flips?
Exactly. I feel like they're kind of in a really weird situation. We see this, I feel like, kind of a lot in Survivor, where you don't want to lose the person on the bottom, but you do want to handicap them from success. And so how do you manifest that? How do you get them to vote out somebody that they want to work with? And that's the real question, is how are they going to sort of ensure that Hallie doesn't have the potential? I mean, the thing is now, right, we were at 11, now we're going to be at 10. Hallie could flip to them and they could, like, tie it up. But on the other hand, what they could do is they could tell Hallie a different name, and then it's like a 5-4-1, and they could blindside May the next time around. But I think that's way too complicated, and I think that the Balders would see through that. So it's kind of, we're going forward into a tricky spot. Lee, what do you think is best for Hallie at this moment in time? If anything is, if he's not doomed, what does he have to do?
Win every immunity? Somehow make it to the end? I don't see him winning.
Hallie was robbed. That wind was brutal. That's so fucked up. Oh my God.
He really was.
So bad.
I think Anthony for sure would have been the name if he had.
Yeah, I thought that as well watching the episode. It's like, if Anthony didn't have immunity, I'm pretty sure he would have been the name, and I think somebody would have flipped on him.
I think so too. I think, like, Dorothy or Hallie would have voted against him.
Yeah, because Anthony doesn't seem close to anyone that isn't Leo, Olivia, and Audrey.
He's kind of got a relationship with May and Corey, but we're gonna see Anthony develop this next coming episode, so you'll see some things from him.
Because that's his boot episode.
No.
Nick, whatever floats your boat, buddy.
Sure.
Anthony's gonna win.
That's his roommate.
Sure. Okay, Nick. Whatever you want. And yeah, Dustin, I agree. These past string of boots have been really hard. And hey, Sarah, how's it going? Definitely would have been Anthony, LOL. And that's the thing is I think that Anthony, I'm fascinated by Ogun because we see like really dominant performances from Olivia and Leo. And that's almost like a sign of a great college survivor player is when you can get the people around you to be lazy and therefore their options dwindle while yours stay very strong. And I think that's kind of happened with Anthony, no offense, Anthony, and to an extent, Dorothy and Hallie. Even though Hallie has all these relationships, he's not as ingratiated to the actual core of the alliance. Therefore, he's going to be at the bottom. And Anthony is not ingratiated to people outside of the core of the alliance. So he's always going to be loyal to them. And I think it just goes to show that, like, Leo and Olivia are being very dominant in their performances so far. And really, I can't wait to kind of see who takes the first swing at them because that's going to be like the first swing has been swung at Leo, right? But when somebody comes for Olivia's neck, shit's going to hit the fucking fan. And I cannot wait. Whenever that happens, it's going to be so good.
I fear for people who even mention Olivia's name. They don't even have to write it down. Just merely mentioning it. They don't have to mean it.
Well,
I fear for these people.
Nobody knows that she has the idol.
Really?
So
well, only Anthony knows. And
only
he's somehow
and he's not telling anybody.
He somehow didn't let it slip.
Yeah, because see the thing with Anthony, love him so much. He's great, but he just didn't care. Like, he's not about the scheming. He's not about like leaking things. Like, he just doesn't care. Like, he's here to have a good time, and that means being loyal to Leo and Olivia.
Mm-hmm. Well,
great person, boring on TV though.
So Shane, I just want to check my numbers here. There's Olivia has an idol, Sarah has 2 idols, and
now
there
Corey
is the
has an
merge or idol from Corey.
Oh, if only Zoe found it.
Yeah. So Shane, talk to me a little bit about Corey and the idol because Corey is actually the biggest enigma to me on this whole cast. I don't know what's going on with him. I hope he's doing well. But what is he up to? And why doesn't the idea of playing this idol cross his mind?
You know, it's so funny that you mentioned that because Zoe cornered Corey before Tribal and was like, it's gonna be me. Like, you should play it. And Corey was like, they wouldn't do that. He was so sure that they wouldn't vote out Zoe. And also, I think selfishly, he's trying to keep it for as long as possible because he is kind of being seen as like the head of the, like, Olivia claimed him as like the head of the like alliance. She's keeping him as a shield, right? Like, it's kind of very obvious that that's what she's doing. And so he's trying to keep it for as long as humanly possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Corey kind of sees the writing on the wall in a little bit and sees that, like, yeah, Baldur's kind of fucked, so I might as well keep this idol for when I know it's me, and that way I can save myself at the perfect opportunity. Right. I don't know if that wins him the game. I don't think it's like necessarily a great move when it means you have to win out every competition. They could vote for him next. If May is so well insulated and Sarah as well with her idols, like it could very well be Corey right on the block after this. So I was perplexed by this, especially seeing as he found it with her. But Corey, you do you, babe. Like, I hope it works out for you in the end. I don't think it will, but I hope it does.
It's a thing we always see with people that find idols. They always try to make sure they don't play it.
Yeah.
Whether it's real Survivor, college Survivor, MC Survivor, if you have an idol, you're going to use it on yourself, and you most likely will not use it on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know if I would do that. Like, I'd want to just stir the shit up. Oh, I would.
Yeah,
if it benefits me. If it benefits me, like, I would totally do it.
Yeah, most of like the big idol plays we've seen were ones that were played on other people.
Right. And I think also if you're afraid of the target being on you because you played an idol for somebody else, just give them the idol. Just give it to them and say, you just play it for yourself. Look, they have a bigger target on their back. and you don't really have any of the blood on your hands. You just have the benefits. And that's why I kind of was perplexed by Corey here, is because he could have easily said, Zoe, this is an idol for the both of us. Let's work together. And then let's say he says, no, Zoe, I'm sure that it's not going to be you. I know they're going to vote for May. And then May goes home, or, Zoe goes home. He can be like, well, I tried my hardest to make sure that it wasn't her, and I failed. And then Zoe likes him, or wants, maybe has more good graces towards him should he make the end, rather than her just being like, well, he just found the idol that I was looking for, and like I got voted out. Like that doesn't really inspire rootability in a person. And I think that Corey really kind of messed up his relationship with Zoe here right at the end. And
but Zoe is on the jury, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
she better be dancing and singing every time she walks in.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was fortunate because we wanted to do this one, and the next tribal are not in person just because we had like a COVID scare right after we did the first in-person challenge. So episode 9 marks the first in-person tribal, and then from that point forward, up until the final tribal, of course, we got shut down the day of final tribal council. Until then, it's in person. So I wish that tribal with Zoe and this upcoming one were in person, but what can I do?
So let's go back to the very beginning and talk about the challenge. The first in-person challenge of Scotty Survivor. Very exciting. I was thrilled. And you really said, hey, I know you guys have been indoors for like almost a year. Let's run. And again, I ask you, Shane, why do you hate your cast so much?
If you think that's bad, you haven't seen anything yet.
He makes them eat Carolina Reaper peppers.
Yeah, the challenges get worse and worse, and especially in season 2, there's one in particular. Like we did like a comics challenge, where like we gave like them each like a comic.
Oh yeah.
We plastered it on the wall, and it was completely dark out, and like there were like 27 different like fake versions of and they like had 20 minutes to figure it out.
And nobody did.
So it's only
Oh my god. Well, so this challenge is a lot of fun, foot stacking, but also you gotta run some laps, get your steps in for the day. So talk to me about the idol clue that was at this event and Eric finding it. Who did you think Eric was going to be the one to go get it, first of all, and like what was the intention behind putting that clue there?
Everybody was gonna run for it, like, you know what I mean?
We saw Anthony even before the challenge start run for it, thinking we run for it now.
Like everybody wanted it. It was just who's gonna get there first, and we knew that would happen. Like we wanted that to happen.
Right.
We wanted it to match. And there was. You guys are torturous to these poor souls. And also the foot stacking, as Leo said, hurts the core, especially considering it is a windy day and they need to run a lap every time they do a stack. And if they knock it over, they have to run the lap again. Like, you guys are insane. But this was a lot of fun to watch in a very tight race. The wind hates Hallie. Mother Nature said, I don't want Hallie to win this challenge today. And Anthony gets the win. Shane, I loved Govin narrating this whole time. And Govin's like, let's run with him. Like, Govin was so in it to win it in this narration. I was cracking up the whole time. I feel like if Jeff Probst retires, I think Govin has a good shot at like taking over the challenge. Where like I can just picture Govin just getting like knocked over by a wave and being like, no, you know?
Gets taken away with the tide.
Exactly.
Gets lost in the jungles of Fiji, accidentally sets his shirt on fire on a torch.
Yeah, 100%. But this was a lot of fun. Shane, anything else about the challenge that we need to talk about, should talk about?
There was so much commentary that I cut out from, like, there was like one producer who just was sitting at the bottom, and every time like people would run by, he'd like give like running commentary, but like it was like every 2 seconds in the video, so I cut it all out. But he would be like, hey, cross country girl was last again. Like,
oh yeah, poor Audrey. A word of advice to everybody: don't show up in your cross country sweatshirt to a running challenge you're not going to perform. Like, don't do it. You just look foolish. Poor Audrey.
I was
Yeah.
waiting for
Also,
people to show up in like jeans.
None of them had any idea what to expect. Like, because it was the first challenge that we did in person, right? So, like, what were they expecting? Like, they had no idea what was going to happen.
Aren't
Right.
these people going to be liking an eating challenge?
Well, we can't do eating challenges because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys think about trying really hard in the merge challenge? Do you guys think that Hallie now has a big target on him for being so physical and being really kind of up there as a competitor? Does Anthony have a target on him for doing really well in this challenge? Like, should they be concerned having done a pretty successful job in this challenge?
I think more so Anthony than Hallie. Because he already had a pretty strong pre-merge when it comes to challenges. And I think Hallie's threat level would increase if he does well in another challenge, right? I feel like he's maybe now on a little bit of the radar, but it would go up if he continues to perform well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Anthony, he was already being targeted. He just made his target bigger for winning. And Hallie, people didn't really know it was him. They still don't know his name. And I think this made people think like, oh, he can run.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at snacking.
Yeah, he's great with his feet, right? That's the biggest challenge threat of them all, is somebody who has foot dexterity. Well, Eric gets this clue, and let's talk about everything that Eric does in this episode, because dear Lord, I love Eric. Turning salt into butter as always. So Eric,
Bachelor meets Survivor.
So Shane, let me get this right. Eric basically says to his tribe, "I'm gonna tell you guys the clue later," or says to Old Balder, I should say. Says, "I'm gonna tell you guys later, but I won't go looking for it." And then he goes looking for it, and then he tells them, "Okay, so I did go looking for it. Here's the clue." And then he goes up to Corey and is like, "So I didn't fucking trust you at all, but now I think you're okay." Walk me through this, Shane. Am I missing anything here?
Yeah, don't know what he was doing. Eric continues to dig a bigger hole for himself than he needs to.
Watch this show, dude. Like, an episode. Just an episode, and you'll learn so much.
Okay, so something that is so funny about all these people is that they all are like, especially like people at like like at Final Tribal. Sometimes people will be like, "Oh, I've never seen Survivor before," and I'm like, that is not a selling point. Like, that is not a.
So you've never seen the show?
Sure, it's like impressive if you get here, but like it's not a selling point because the people that win do their research.
Yeah, I think also like it's not impressive to not know anything about Survivor in an uncaring way. It is impressive to say, I didn't want Survivor to shape the way I played this game. I created my own path forward. And if your path was very successful, I do think that's impressive. But I do think it's worth checking out, like, you know, like Survivor players making mistakes, or, you know, there's all those videos on YouTube that are like awkward Survivor moments. Honestly, I bet that could help somebody, right? Like the things that people say where they're like, what the fuck did this person just say to me, could even benefit somebody who is watching and unsure of how to play. But Eric goes truly off the rails here. And I think that if there's any like one piece of advice that people should take if they're going to play Survivor, it's don't say things to your allies that if you heard, you would say, what the fuck is that? Like, don't say something to somebody that is like, hey, I'm not going to do this for you. You should be telling people what you are going to do for them. What are your benefits of sticking around? What are you going to do with this idol clue? And you can say, hey, I'm really tired. I'm going to bed. I will tell you guys tomorrow. Or just tell them right away, because the less trust you have in between that hour 24-hour period where you don't tell them the clue, the further and further down the totem pole you go. And like that was really, I think, what Eric's humongous mistake was. Is like, what the fuck was he doing? Lee,
Give the man his own. Give the man his own show.
I know. Give him the Bachelor already.
I love Eric. Love Eric.
I love Eric.
But
He's
what
great.
the fuck is he doing? Like, he clearly just does not know what he's doing.
No. An episode,
Exactly.
a 15-minute video on YouTube. You're college students. You shouldn't have that much going on. Actually, never mind. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
it's a pandemic. Where are you going?
And that's the thing that I kind of was like really shocked by, was how wild everybody was. I actually think that Sarah did a good job of recovering from how wild she was, whereas everybody else who like went kind of off the rails here has like such very minimal chance of recovery. Because I also do think that Zoe was somebody who was always sticking up for Eric and was always kind of defending Eric. And now that she's gone, I think Eric has even less of a chance of actually being a part of a major alliance with any of these former Balders. And I think Eric's days are so numbered. If I'm like Ogun, I'm very tempted to vote out Eric next. Like, I think that would be a good move because he's just so unpredictable that you just take the target, you put it on him for getting the clue, and you vote him out. Like, it's wild to me that Eric is making it farther in this game. Say that again, Lee.
He also did well in the challenge, right? Like, he was up there.
He's the youngest, right, Shane? Or is Audrey's the youngest?
I think Eric is the youngest. One of the two of them. No idea.
One of the freshmen are the youngest.
Right. So if I'm a, college senior or a college junior, and I see some like 18-year-old who like can run faster than the speed of light, I'm never beating that person in a challenge. I'm gonna vote them out. They are strong. They probably have a little bit of, breath support. Voting them out. and that's the thing is like Eric, I feel like the target is so enormous on his back. I don't know what the hell he's gonna do. And let's contrast this with people like Leo and Olivia, and honestly, to an extent, Dorothy and Anthony. We know put a target in his back, but even Audrey, they did a very good job of laying low, not going crazy. Although Audrey's conversation with Zoe, I gotta talk about how exhausted I was watching Audrey talk to other people, but we'll get there. They are really good at just like being calm, being very rational in how they behave. Olivia is a humongous social threat, but nobody sees her as the big threat that she is because she's so calm and collected when she is like doing things with people and making plans and talking to them, because she understands like, gotta keep it low key, gotta keep it down, like, So I think that like Balder is getting wilder and more out of control, while the core of Ogun is really even just settling in and feeling more comfortable. Now, feeling comfortable could always be a danger, right? We don't know what's going to happen. But Lee, what do you think is the next? Who do you think is the ideal person for Ogun to vote out next?
All of Ogun or just Ogun members?
Let's say the Ogun 3.
So Leo, Anthony, and Olivia. Those 3, best person to vote off next. Probably May. Maybe they should, because Corey doesn't have any connections with Dorothy, Hallie, or Audrey. And who else is on the tribe? Eric, he's too unpredictable. Sarah is connected to them, so May, she's the only one with a connection to somebody that's not one of those 3.
Mm-hmm.
For the other 3, they should, other than flipping, they should try to get rid of Sarah, because that weakens Anthony, Olivia, and Leo.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I don't think that they know that.
Yeah, that's not. I don't think they know.
Yeah.
About Sarah's connections or her idols.
That's the thing, is I do think that Sarah is actually in a great spot because she's actually playing, and this is going to sound mean to her, she's playing pretty desperately, but I don't think that she would be playing that desperately. I think other people would think that she doesn't have anything in her pocket, and that's why she's playing that desperately, if that makes sense, right? Like, somebody scrambling that hard shouldn't have an idol, let alone two idols. Shouldn't be playing that extreme. She's probably got nothing to lose but trying to salvage her relationship with Leo. And I think it almost works to her benefit in a way where people are going to underestimate the power she actually has in this game. Let's talk, Shane, about the Audrey and Zoe relationship. God bless Audrey. I love her so much, but these clips of watching her just trying to explain what happened in a conversation, I truly lost a year of my life listening to this. And she's so cute, she's so funny, but like I would have just been like texting my friend, like, can you call me? I have to, like, get me out of this conversation. Shane, what was the, I don't think we talked about it a lot. What was the reaction like on the part of like Olivia and Anthony for this?
Olivia and Anthony, I don't think they cared. Like, they were like, it's not, like, they're not getting a target. So, like,
yeah.
I don't
That's
think
true.
they cared.
Well, that's what I was curious also as well, is like, is there a target on Audrey for talking to Zoe, or do they just know that, like, there's no way it matters? Like, that's just Audrey being Audrey.
I think that everybody sees Audrey as such a non-player that they're like, Audrey is talking to people. Like, who cares? Like, what is Audrey gonna do? You know what I mean?
Good for her. She's making friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I kind of assumed. But you know,
that was a wild conversation. I was like, why?
do you think it? Oh, go ahead, Lee.
I think Zoe was just in that conversation because, like, she knew it was going to be her and she's trying to protect herself.
Mm-hmm.
So she has, like, have a connection with someone on Ogun to maybe fight for her name. Just she probably kind of picked the wrong person.
Right.
I don't know who she could have picked.
That's the thing is,
the person that she should have gone to was Olivia, because they could have had like a whole like theater connection.
Yeah.
Because Olivia has said from the beginning of this game she's wanted to work with somebody who's like into theater, and look how well that's panned out between Elle and Amara getting out. So like Zoe could have been.
Well, that's. I'm probably behind. Sorry if I talk over you guys. I think that's completely correct. Obviously, Shane knows this game better than anybody, but like, really, Zoe should have been appealing to Olivia's sensibilities and like maybe even throwing someone like Sarah under the bus. Like, what I would say is, if you are in like a 5-6 scenario or like a 7-6, find a leader of the other tribe, throw somebody under the bus, tell them you're going to flip on them. If it's in your interest to play an idol on that person, maybe. If it's in your interest to flip to them and then rat the information back to the other group, that's also in your interest. But like, you got to find the head person in charge. And I feel like there's absolutely no way it was going to be Audrey. I don't know why this conversation happened.
Well, I think she made the right decision trying to go to Leo. She did the right thing trying to go to Leo, except Leo is not the person in control. Everybody sees Leo as the person in control, but it's really not him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say it's
Olivia has a lot more control over everybody than Leo does, because she spent a lot more time on New Ogun developing a relationship with Audrey and Anthony. And because she has Audrey, she has Hallie and Dorothy. So they're not, like, Olivia is probably in the best spot right now because, like you said, she's a huge social threat. Nobody knows she has the idol. She's not very good at challenges, so people aren't going to be intimidated by her, like, challenge performance. And nobody is putting any of this together for now. Will it happen at some point? Like, Probably, but like when?
Olivia's winning the season. Please.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe.
I know after I'm saying that she's going home next episode because only my favorites leave.
We see it happen time and time again,
I
right?
will. This is all I'm gonna say about tomorrow's episode as I, edit it tonight. Finish editing, start editing. Same difference. This episode is a brutal boot, so be ready. It's and not just and I don't mean that in just like the person who goes out. It's just like the way that the lead up to Tribal happens is just so horrible. Like so horrible. I was watching it and I was like, why? Why is it this?
I can't believe you hate me, Shane, but it's fine. Well, let's talk. If Olivia's in the power position for us, right? If Olivia's in the number 1 spot in the power ranking, who is number 2? Who is the person who is like second most in charge? Is it Leo? Is it somebody else? Like who's got that number 2 spot?
Olivia.
This is the most batshit thing that I've said.
Yep.
But it's actually Sarah.
Yep. I was thinking that. I was like, I don't know how to justify this, but I think it's Sarah.
It's Sarah because everybody is so like Sarah's like they're all like Sarah, that she's literally becoming a non-threat. And what is she using that as? Turning it around for herself. 2 idols. Nobody know like they know that she has the idols. She told Eric that she has an idol. She told May that she has an idol. They haven't put it together that it's different idols.
I think maybe May told Eric.
May
like,
didn't
oh,
tell
she
Eric.
gave. Oh.
May didn't tell anybody that Sarah gave her the idol. So they literally have not connected the dots that Sarah has 2 idols.
She's never said which specific idol she has. She just says, I have an idol. Like, she never said it's
May
like.
knows that she has the Stale idol, and Eric knows that she has the Balder idol.
Oh my god.
This is fantastic, and I love it.
And Eric and May are working together. They should talk about this.
I know.
Apple Mile, they have the smarts of an apple.
Oh no! Well, that makes me like. I feel like this game. So many people are just like not processing the information fully, right? They are not taking the steps to go, wait, I should like even Sarah voting for Leo and trying to use her extra vote when Cushy was going.
I get that one because
there's a lot of these moments where people really could think like 2 more steps ahead, like Eric not sending the clue, like him talking to Corey in that very, very weird way. Or even like what is it? Eric playing the idol, like the idol with Michael and Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Like I feel like people are just like not taking enough steps, and even with that goes back to like Michael not talking to Audrey enough. All this stuff. The people who are doing better in this game are the people who are taking a little bit more time to think about what's going on and process the information and act accordingly. And that's what Olivia is really great at, right? And Leo, to an extent, too, is getting the information and sitting there with it and saying, okay, what do I do with this? Something I also wanted to talk about is just how fucked over Zoe has been this whole game with, like, the idols and, like, her allies just being complete messes and ruining her opportunities to stay in the game. I was really just, like, not Zoe getting fucked over by another idol that she doesn't get to use, and it gets fucking screwed, and it screws her. I felt Zoe was really robbed, I feel like.
Zoe was so robbed. The thing I was going to say about Leo is Leo is a great strategist, but he's naive in the fact that he thinks that, like,
nobody else is playing?
Yeah. He thinks that, like, nobody's going to take a shot at him and, like, that he's good. Like, he's going to be protected because he's been, like, loyal. Right? Loyal.
I mean, he almost went home last episode. It was
I think that he is just naive as a player a little bit.
And you know, I spoke to somebody from a different college game, and something they said that I thought was really interesting was that, and I think it has to do a lot with the college experiences, is you lose sight of everybody else being a player. you think that you get the main character syndrome. You think that it's just you out here struggling against your, 10 other friends who aren't as good as Survivor at you. And that is, I think, something that plagues a lot of college Survivor players, and it plagues them into making moves that are not beneficial for them because they, at the end of the day, underestimate every person that's around them. And I completely agree, Shane, that I think Leo is falling into that trap. And it is why he's not number 2 on the list, right? Because he doesn't see the potential of everybody around him.
The fact that he has not even caught on to Olivia's game. He doesn't know about her idol. He doesn't know that she talks to other people. Like, he's just naive to it. Like, his number 1 ally is schemy behind the scenes, and he has no idea. He's not even asking the questions, right? Like, the mystery of the Ogun idol is, like, still very much not talked about. Like, nobody is talking about where that idol is. And it's truly baffling.
You think somebody like Leo who knows the game would be asking these questions?
Yeah.
Like, he should be asking, where's the Ogun idol? If it's found, who's most likely to have it? Where are all these other idols?
Well, see, the thing with Olivia is that she did such a good job making it seem like she didn't have it by going and searching with him so many times. To the point where he was like, only a complete psychopath would search if they already had it. But we already know that she, like, has that capability.
And Sarah's still searching for idols when she has 2.
Sarah is truly the idol queen of this season. Like, 2 idols, 2 pre-merge.
Technically, I was about to say technically 3 until I realized, oh wait, she didn't find a 3rd and then play it. That was something else.
No, 2 pre-merge. Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, and that's what I think is, like, I'm very excited. We'll see, like, what happens, but I'm very excited to see when the divide kind of breaks, right? The old baller, old Ogun, when that, like, the clash that we always see it emerge, right? When that finally breaks down, who are going to stick together? Who are the people who are going to trust each other? Because I do think that Shane and Lee and I were talking about this. This is a great cast. Everybody's very interesting and very compelling. And, like, at the end of the day, we don't know where they're going to fall, because I do think that at some point they're gonna forget about the party lines. They're gonna forget about the split that they've come from, and they're gonna really start to work together. I don't know I don't know what that's gonna be, but I can't wait that it's gonna happen, because I know it will.
I'll tell you one thing: it's coming, and it's coming tomorrow. So,
oh God.
Yay. Oh, thank God. It's not just all talk and, like, on how we're going to not let these big threats walk over us and then vote off somebody that has nothing to do with this.
This game,
yes, I'm projecting.
This game tomorrow will get incredibly messy, as if it already was not messy.
Well, Shane, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I think that's just, like, the great preview for next week. It's like, shit's about to hit the fan, so tune the fuck in next week.
You all better tune in to this episode. Let me just say, you better tune in, because, well, 1, I'm still editing it, and it's gonna be great when I'm done. And 2, because it's amazing. And I don't have a lot of things, so
yeah, you're just the winner of this week's challenge gets $100 in Xfinity gift cards. No, I'm really excited. I can't wait to watch. You got to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube, to the Instagram, follow them, support Scotty Survivor, because it's a ton of fun. We are all on Discord chatting it up, not only about Scotty Survivor, but about all college survivors. You can at any one of us and just tell us to shut up. But more importantly, go give your opinions on Scotty Survivor's YouTube channel. Go leave a comment. Tell them who you're rooting for. Comments and like.
Why is it Olivia?
Exactly. Tell them you have taste and that you like Olivia. Comments and like always help. And then just in terms of live reality games, we're happy to announce that we're doing a giveaway where when we hit 500 likes on Facebook and when we hit 200 subscribers on our YouTube channel, we are going to be giving away buffs. I think we're going to have Pride buffs, which I'm so excited about. But we're going to have some awesome live reality game materials to give away and prizes. So make sure that you like us on Facebook. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube, and you will be in that entry. Check out our Facebook page for more information, or shoot us a message if you're unclear, because I'm just the messenger. So check us out. As always, listen to the podcast. You can follow all of us online. I don't know. I don't have the time to plug everybody. But most importantly, subscribe to Scotty Survivor on YouTube. New episode tomorrow at 8 p.m. or 7. Shane?
8.
8.
Provided I'm functional and get it all done.
Okay, all right. School's almost over. You're almost there.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done with school. So
okay. No excuse. Let's go. No. Hustle. We're going to end now so that you can keep editing. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, we'll be here next week talking about the next episode. I think we'll go back to Sunday. But thank you guys for being here. Lee, you probably need to go to bed. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Love talking with you guys.